No, this is perfect. You know, I could not ask for a better introduction with both of you. I mean, I'm like, I have a little butterflies in my stomach. I know that today something very special will happen. So I'm really, really happy. So thanks for being part of this.
Thank you so much for your work. This is the work. This is what we should be doing. So it's wonderful to be speaking into it together.
Yeah. It's really important that we bring the world together on and you know, offers and common denominators around which then emergence can happen. Because right now I can see that there are bubbles, you know, everywhere, but we need the connectors. We need some topics around which we start gathering and kind of bring them together under the same umbrella. So that's why I'm really happy for this country wings like Cafeteria, that they really hear the call and they bring topics that usually you would not hear about when discussing, let's say, climate change or a new paradigm. Yeah? But the topic of today is showing how deep into the reshaping of our society we have to go. I think that's, hopefully that will be the message of today.
Yeah. Indeed. And I think, you know, what I will be emphasizing, which we bring by way of illustration, is living in the middle of an ecosystem, harmonious coexistence within an ecosystem, really re-imaging it from the heart out. So I'll speak into that. I'm just getting a couple of let's see, I have the little video in case it doesn't work with that link, Eleutheria. I have it here, so I can always pull that up.
Okay.
Super.
Great. Super. Okay, I think, we've got another 1 minute, but I see some people are joining us already. So welcome. Fantastic. Sarah's asking, can I share a screenshot and link it to Instagram? Yes, please. That would be wonderful. I'm so excited about today. I can't tell you. I've been waiting to introduce the three of you for ages.
Thank you for your persistence and your vision.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's an honor to be part of this. Thank you. Thank you, both of you.
So welcome, and thank you for your time. And I'm so excited about so many people who, obviously this is a topic that really speaks to people. And so it's so wonderful to see so many people here. And also, so this is our first South African session for Ecocivilisation. And it's wonderful to feel this kind of support and welcome from everybody and so many people who have signed up. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I'm super excited about our theme today. And so our theme for our Ecocivilisation today is interspecies communication and conscious living with nature. So as everybody is joining us, I see from all over South Africa, USA, the Netherlands, fantastic. We've got a beautiful connection around the globe, which is wonderful. Just some house rules. If you could please just mute your microphones while we're presenting. And then we'll have some time for a Q&A afterwards. In which case you can either share in the chat some of your questions or any sharings that you'd like to share with us, or we can do a live question and answer. And please provide us with some feedback after the end of the webinar. That would really help us. And this webinar is being recorded, and all the materials will be available afterwards on ecocivilisation.eu and also on our YouTube channel of Ecocivilisation after this webinar. And for today, our webinar structure is going to start with introductions. I'm going to introduce these three beautiful, amazing women. And our discussion will flow in 3 parts. The first part is going to be our vision. And after that, we'll be looking at current reality and really facing some of the hard truths of our current reality, and also the beauty and amazing things that are already happening on the ground in current reality. And then we're going to end with some intuitive action steps that we can all take to bring our vision into fruition. So I'm just going to start by saying I'm Eleftheria, and my name means freedom or liberty. And that's really what I stand for. And I'm passionate about regenerative living in harmony with nature. And I've been really honored to be elected as the country chairwing for Ecocivilisation movement in South Africa. Today, as I said, is our first one. And I'm so grateful for everybody for being here, for your time, and for sharing this beautiful, beautiful topic. So I would like to start by just introducing our curator for Ecocivilisation, and then our two guest speakers for today, before we explore our topic. So I'd like to start by just introducing Violetta Bulch. She's the founder and curator of Ecocivilisation, innovator in mind, socialist in heart, environmentalist in spirit, and liberal in actions. She's curious, committed, open, engaging, dedicated to love, truth, collaboration, joy, compassion, building trust to serve her higher self and higher good, and traveler through space and time. Violetta is also the former EU Commissioner for Transport. She's also the former Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Slovenia, founder and General Manager of Vibacom, and she's currently the G100 Global Chair member of the Ecocivilisation Wing. Welcome, Violetta.
Thank you very much. Would you like to proceed with introduction with the other two guests first before we proceed? But yes. Thank you very much for your introduction.
And also with us today, we have Winter. And Winter has been practicing as a professional animal communicator for 20 years. In 2002, she met Linda Tucker and started working closely with the Global White Lion Protection Trust. And since then, Winter has been consulting for them on wildlife issues and preparing the lions for each step of the project. She was the first to take specialized groups up to the project, facilitating her Star Lion Journeys, where participants are guided by the white lions into a deep spiritual connection with nature. She's a core facilitator in the White Lion Leadership Academy, and she created her own Animal Talk Africa Online Academy in 2005. Winter also works closely with the Baboon Matters Trust, helping people to understand baboons who live on the urban edge. She has recently been involved with the plight of elephants and is working on a documentary with Australian filmmaker Rachel Dunn called Through Elephant Eyes. She has recently developed the Heart Method, where she helps people work with heart energy to achieve real transformation. Winter's book, Where is Biggles, has helped many people to reunite with their beloved animal friends who've gone missing. Welcome, Winter.
Thank you so much, Eleftheria. It's strange to hear that all thrown at one in introductions, but thank you. It's wonderful.
And next, our speaker also today is Linda Tucker. In the midst of a global lion crisis that treats Africa's most sacred animals as a killing commodity in cross-border trade, Linda Tucker has dedicated her life to the solution. After being rescued by a Tsonga medicine woman from a life-threatening encounter with a pride of lions in 1991, Linda Tucker gave up a career in international marketing to become a conservationist. She has dedicated her life to ensuring the flourishing of the critically endangered white lions, regarded as sacred animals, yet among the world's most targeted trophy. Over 3 decades, she has campaigned for their sovereignty against the legalized malpractices in South Africa, notorious cuddle to kill or canned lion hunting industry. Founder of the Linda Tucker Foundation and Global White Lion Protection Trust, she and her team have successfully rewilded the white lions, securing vast protective heritage lands in the heart of their ancestral territories in UNESCO's Kruger and Canyon biosphere. Her pioneering initiatives include establishing the Academy for Lion-Hearted Leadership, now also available online, and the Starline Eco-Educational Program in 7 different centers for emerging youth leadership. She's also the author of 4 books: The Mystery of the White Lines, Saving the White Lines, Lion-Hearted Leadership, and Starline Manual for Educators. Welcome, Linda.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to be here and be speaking about a topic that is so close to our hearts. This is what the future will look like. So can't wait to engage in the sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd now like to invite Violetta to just start with the vision of eco-civilization. And I'd like to just invite us all to just take a deep breath, open our minds and our hearts, and to just give ourselves permission to use our imagination to visualize this vision. There is an immense power in like-hearted people with a collective vision. And so now I hand over to Violetta to share this vision of eco-civilization with us.
Thank you very much, Lefeteria, and I'm excited about today's day. As I mentioned before, I have butterflies in my stomach, so I know that something collectively will emerge today, which will make a big difference in the future. So thank you for really giving me a chance to present the basis of eco-civilization community. And I would like to ask the host to give me the permission to screen share for sharing the screen. But if not, that's okay too. So what I can do first is I'll just share the dream. I have this passionate dream that developed in 2012. It got provoked during 1 year of work with a group of system scientists on a global conference, which we tapped into the possible leverage points of civilizational paradigm and how can we observe the changes, broader changes in the society that go beyond the society itself. At that time, I got hooked, and it got. But life has a very interesting ways of training us and deciding what else we need to learn before we are up to a certain task or a certain call. And that's what happened to me. So the true modeling started to emerge in last year, in March. And I'm inviting you now to not to just take it, but as Lefeteria already invited you, help us to imagine it and broaden it and bring your visions into it. This is just the beginning, and who knows where this travel will take us in the future, but collectively, we will create a safe space that we will dare to imagine even further. So that's my first invitation. But let me share with you where we stand at this point. So I really feel this dream being supported by a heavy drumming. It's like coming from a collective consciousness and helping me to pass on whatever comes on the channel. I cannot claim for anything. I'll show you that it's mine. It's really a product of everyone I've ever met in my life and the product of all people who are already involved in this movement. And it's been a very rewarding 1.5 years travel. So first, First, a little bit of a rhythm that we all get in. So I have a dream and I know that it is here and the drums are calling. Let's awaken our senses, our memories. Let's free our inner truths and dare to go beyond. And I know that this calling is more than just a hope, more than just a dream, and more than just you and I. It is possibly a ticket for our existence. That's why it's our collective invitation to co-create the future that we can all live. It got prompted by the fact that there are some megatrends that are constantly present in a pipeline of a daily life. And more I look at them through the perspective of 10 years, more I see that we are repeating them and somehow not finding solutions for them. The poverty continues to grow. Digitalization continues to lead towards some sort of transhumanization, which has nothing to do with really this beautiful, holistic human being. Climate change is coming through the big doors, and we seem not to be able to respond to it or imagine how we're going to live under the new conditions. We kept trying, but it seems like we have wrong assumptions, or just maybe not the systemic ones. So all our efforts really bring to very little results. We are in the middle of pandemic, and that raises more questions than answers. So it means that there is something, almost I feel like I'm in a hologram, and we need to get through this and get a new perspective of what the future of society, of humanity is, what's the future of Homo sapiens, and where we can collectively lead our lives, and not just give up to a certain calls like technology is a goal. No, technology is a tool. So let's use it wisely, but let's put humanity first, and let's bring humanity in a balance with the rest of the beings on this planet Earth. So based on all these turbulences that have been present in day-to-day life, somehow this really clear message of possible new civilizational paradigm started to emerge. And many people got afraid and say, oh, this is too big. I mean, what do you mean? And I said, look, just look at the last 50,000 years, how many different civilizations lived on this planet Earth, and how many, and all of them that lived so far also have fallen. So what makes us think that we are the ones who will live forever? Or even better question, what do we have that others didn't? And maybe we can lead the transition instead of completely fall apart. So that is kind of the passion behind it. And that's how we then put together a certain, let's say, anchors around which we started together. And they're always subject to change. So whatever you see, it's, you know, maybe truth in this moment of time, but collectively we can always evolve it into even broader or different type of calling, but has to be done on a collective level. So as we stand, we have one shared sort of mission, more than a vision itself, but mission, which is new destination called Ecocivilisation. We have two big hopes: to put humanity at the core and to keep technology as a tool. But already here we evolved, and we are now more profound, connecting to what today's discussion will be all about, to really connect to all the beings, which was from the beginning part of the model, but it has not been articulated well at the beginning. We have three major values: to keep everything really transparent, to keep everything inclusive, and to really devote our activities to the planet to thrive, not just sustain, but to really get opportunity to maximize the potentials. We put forward 4 core goals: Earth as an ecozone of our galaxy. So to get out and look at this beautiful planet and hopefully really understand how unique and incredible it is in its essence. Further populate the universe, possibly, but I'm quite skeptical that that's going to be done by rockets. So we will continue to explore possibilities how to feel with the universe better and in a more profound way. A relationship-based civilization, really focus on relationship and hopefully tap into the new physics that will bring more light into this particular goal. And that's how the model came about, which I will share with you. But just very quickly, the key major brickstones that happened in the last year and a half since this became sort of an official movement. First in 2012 was an idea that I mentioned, but the model really materialized one night in March, end of March last year, and I published it in April. Draw it with my hand, with a pencil, and the response was great. So we engaged immediately. In that case, pandemic was on our side. There was more time, there was more peace in the air, so we could work towards that. So in May 2020, we started to talk about a tribe. We launched 4 events, some right at the beginning, some a little bit later on through the year, which are still now active. Launched the webpage, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And then this year in April, something very profound happened, sort of a little push that came from the outside, from India, when a colleague of ours who leads this huge global women's league and World Female Economic Forum. And she recognized Ecocivilisation as one of the 100 key projects for the future of the civilization. For me, that was quite a challenge. And once I decided to go for it, started to look for people who I can engage and manifest it on a global scale. So that's how August, by today, 2021, we have 13 countries connected. We're working on 3 more, hopefully 20 by the end of the year, and 100 in the 2 more years. By 2023, we should have 100 countries connected. Through that, we hope to generate a really strong, exuberating network where knowledge is universal good, always shared, exchanged, and then manifested in local environments to the best possible, in the best possible way. So like everything we're going to learn today cannot be transferred directly to, I don't know, to the animal world in Slovenia or in Germany or in Australia, but we can be inspired and we can look for common denominators and approaches and values and vibrations that today I'm sure we're going to all feel. The next step, besides building the network and community, will be really to understand what the community will be all about. So this is the model that emerged in April last year to its full extent. The basic challenge here is that the current structures don't seem to be adequate to address the VUCA principles of the emerging nature-based systems. So instead of looking at either processes or functions, we said, let's look at the entities that are the core of our planet, basically. So that's how beings evolved, that include animal world, the humans, plants, bacteria, viruses, everything that creates this life part of the planet, which at the end, of course, we understand that everything is life. Even the planet itself is a being. So here we are addressing what the beings need in order to evolve. Then society, where beings connect, and we focus on what kind of society we need in order to support the development of individuals and the collective. Then land, and look at how we need to manage and what kind of relationship we have to develop with land in order to sustain us and help us to thrive in the future. Consciousness as part of cross-civilizational integration of knowledge, wisdoms, and of course, the current contribution to this global consciousness, which is the 4th focus, and everything in between, as I call relationship element, which is also dynamic and is always in a function of serving the other 4. You will ask, where is the HR, where is the industry policy, where is the infrastructure? Well, that is all in the relationship cloud, because that has to become dynamic model. We cannot serve the static structures. Dynamic structures have to serve us. So That's just really brief. What have we learned so far? Climate change and pandemics have been very often part of the rise and fall of many civilizations. So nothing new there. Let's learn and try to be smarter. Holographic reality and the advocated concept of duality driven by the old world are deceiving and pushing humanity towards transhumanism, surveillance capitalism, and singularity, which I dare to say it's leading towards the fall of Homo sapiens or fall of humanity altogether. And also the rise of inner strength, care and transparency and balanced coexistence of an individual and the collective is more and more present at the same time, and searching for workable prototypes, and this is just one of them. So co-create is probably the strongest word and the most needed word, and intertwine many different systems into a net of the nets in order to strengthen the network structures and avoid any kind of top-down concentration. So basically my last message is the eco-civilization, I hope, will provide a healthy, open, inclusive playground where we can avoid falling into traps of technocratic dictatorship type of systems and continue to evolve towards the society of abundance. And with the data that we have available for the first time in the history of humankind on a massive level in real time will help us to, instead of fall, to transform and reinvent ourselves and continue to coexist with this beautiful planet Earth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Curator, for the vision and also taking us into the current reality of where we're at as well, which leads beautifully into the second part of today, which is really facing current reality. You know, if we don't really just face the truth and allow ourselves to really feel that pain, we can't step into transforming that pain into power and then take action. And so I think South Africa's our wealthiest treasure is our wildlife. And so I feel that our biggest challenge is the commoditization of conservation. And I know that both Winter and Linda have been incredible activists in this part. And so perhaps leading us into looking at current reality, which is both our challenges, but also really looking at all of the wonderful things that are already happening and is in place in our current reality as well, which leads us to our vision of interspecies connection and living consciously with nature. And so, Linda, I know that you've just recently did a presentation in government to talk on some changes there in terms of conservation. And so I would like to hand over to you to just inform us about where we stand there. And then after that, hand over to Winter. We'd love to hear what's happening with the elephants as well.
Eleutheria, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for that presentation on eco-civilization. Clearly, a lot more needs to go into conceptualizing what the world looks like when we really are listening to the ecosystem. So to answer your question, and then perhaps we can circle back with our organization and what it's achieved over 30 years of living with nature and modeling what an eco-civilization might look like. But to answer your question with governmental changes, South Africa is well known for having achieved an amazing constitution led by Nelson Mandela. And it is, you know, it's a laudable constitution, but nature was not represented in it. And that becomes apparent now with the abominable exploitation that has been allowed to take place, as you say, commoditizing iconic animals, raping ecosystems, removing animals from nature, specifically the lion, has been taken into industrialization to the point that there was legalized trade of lion bones across borders to China, Korea, Laos, by the thousands of lion carcasses going out of South Africa. Has been absolutely dismal, and having opposed this industry for nearly 30 years, it was really terrifying to see how rampantly out of control it was allowed to go, with people just thinking about immediate returns. It was effectively an illustration of the end of our civilization, absolutely. When the king of animals is treated as a mere commodity, we know that we can't get any worse than that, really. But fortunately, South Africa has now, through our new environmental minister, a woman, announced that they are stopping this industry, and this huge tragedy awaits us with thousands of lions being euthanized. But truly, that is a better outcome than the suffering they were going through. Just for everyone to understand this process, tourists were completely hoodwinked into be part of this industry, paying to cuddle baby cubs, because what could be more delightful? And then those tamed lions end up being shot as tamed trophies, or being effectively starved to death and sent to slaughterhouses as bones for the lion bone trade. So this is a big turning point for South Africa, but everyone appreciates now, in the midst of a pandemic, that every issue today is a global issue. What happens in China, as the pandemic showed us, affects the world. And likewise, if South Africa destroys its lions, children around the planet have lost their hearts, because the lion represents the heart of creation, the king of creation. So that has been a campaign, but it has also been very real work in a project that is on the front line. So should we first speak about the elephants, because these things are really related, and then come back to our organization that has been modeling what I would call eco-civilization in the midst of an ecosystem, with 3 levels of regenerative strategy. I think, just to close, it's relevant. When I addressed the minister, I analyzed her advisory paper for this new policy. And I had to point out that in that paper, the word hunt, as in people coming out to hunt as a money-making concept behind conservation, many conservation strategies still believe you have to kill something in order to make money, and that nature has to pay to stay, instead of understanding that if nature does not stay, all of us die. So I analyzed her policy, and there was 1,650 references to hunt. But I analyzed it again in terms of the word regenerate, and there were only 4 references to regenerate. So the focus on my engagement since then is for government to recognize that regenerative economics and regenerative strategies are absolutely available to us and are the key to the solution. So I look forward to circling back if we have time to discuss them.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And Winter.
Oh, thanks, Linda, for introducing the tragic circumstances of particularly the lions. And I've been my focus since I started my work as an animal communicator, and even before that, was the wildlife of South Africa, the lions and the baboons. And although my training was about really working with domestic animals, which I still do occasionally, and I started working, my passion was always wildlife, and I started working with individuals in the wildlife, but also that whole concept of how do we live together, and how we can communicate not only with individual animals, but with species and the consciousness of species, and with nature and the universe as a whole. And that's where I developed even more from not just taking, you know, sort of listening or asking questions of nature or the animals, listening or, you know, just taking guidance. But it was one of the guidance that I got was this envisioning. And what do we vision? So the messages from nature guides us to do this heart work, to hold the vision, because we can be guided by nature. We don't need to try and work it out all by ourselves. Nature has the answers. And, you know, when we connect in with that unconditional love, which is the heart energy, which connects us to all that is, then we can start listening and start co-creating with nature. And that is, you know, that is my mission at this time. And was so excited to hear you speaking, Violetta, because some of the words that you said in the beginning were words that I received from leopard consciousness, which I might, if I've got time, read out later. But, you know, every species has the same message. You spoke about the elephants, and I was called to work with a very specific elephant. I mean, she gave me her name when this filmmaker was trying to find an elephant that was being used in the tourist industry. And everyone in Cape Town, where I was based, where there's the most tourist operations, handling and, you know, feeding elephants and riding elephants, there's the most of those operations in the Cape, but not one was open to being filmed with an animal communicator. And we were at a loss. And then I heard the word Majaji, and it kept on coming, Majaji, which is, if everyone knows South Africans, the name of the rain queen of South Africa. And anyway, we did a Google search and we found this elephant called Majaji, and that led us on a journey, amazing journey, because the owner of the tourist operation was very happy to have us come and see his clever elephants. And, you know, the grief that these elephants hold, and not for themselves, for humanity. And that is a message that I've been getting from nature for so long. And it is not about what they are going through or their personal pain. It is about the disconnection, that separation disease that we as humans have, where we can't connect anymore. And because we are so disconnected, we are not thriving with nature, and we are destroying ourselves, and we are destroying nature. So, you know, it really is about becoming reconnected, and finding the balance between the pain and the suffering, and bringing that joy and life and regeneration back. And we can do that. I've seen it just with my work with Linda over the last nearly 20 years, seeing the steps and the tragedy and the pain, but also so much joy and life and just beauty in this work. It is hard, it's tough, but we have to do it, you know. And what I want to say to our listeners is, if you are called to do something for nature, just do it, because it's only fear that stops us. And fear is the thing that disconnects us from nature. Love connects, and fear, which is the opposite energy of love, disconnects. So, you know, just be in your heart space, be in love. Every action you take it from a place of love, and be guided by your heart and by nature's heart. And then we will achieve miracles, you know, co-creating with nature. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Winter. I could see we were all really resonating with that. And I think that really almost answers one of our questions, which is what is the paradigm shift we need to make in order to step into and really manifest an eco-civilization where we live in consciously with nature. And that is, that connection and, really letting go of the illusion that we are disconnected in any way from nature. And so, Linda, I wanted to circle back to you because I know you wanted to share more with us in terms of what the project's going through now. Yeah. Or can you just, your microphone, wonderful.
Sorry, everyone. We're all making this change in our own environments, and it's possible to shift your environment, however civilized you are, however much you're in the city and your nearest piece of nature is, say, 20 minutes away to a little park nearby. You can do this. But that said, our project is doing this modeling, this co-creation on behalf of nature for the globe, I believe. We've been told that that's what the lions are here to do. These are luminaries. These are the capstone animal. This is the spiritual template behind Panthera Leo, the king of creation. So the fact that the white lion has come back into manifestation in our time, in the age of Leo Aquarius, is highly significant. They are here to support all of nature, and they're here, and that includes humanity. They're here to support humanity to make the changes, but they also have drawn a line in the sand, if you like, with fire, and they've made it clear that they are no longer going to be indulging humanity. So I don't know if you know the story of Alpha and Omega, the two white lionesses who were rescued from this diabolical industry that we've been telling you about by someone who was who thought he was rescuing them, but he did nevertheless tame them and make them walk with tourists. And unfortunately, that ended tragically. I needn't go into the details, you already can tell. But they came to our project the same day when this tragedy happened. I had to make a decision, because our project is about returning the white lions into their natural ecosystem where they restore peace, order, and regeneration in the greater system and in the field of the earth itself. So I wasn't immediately prepared to take two tamed white lions who had made this ultimate sacrifice, but I realized that this was a really important message for humanity. When the King of creation, who works with pure, unconditional love, is giving that message out, it means we are absolutely on the brink, and nature is telling us zero tolerance. It's an ultimatum. Listen, we're beyond, we're beyond the tipping point almost. So realizing that, I took them in, and they came grief-stricken. Again, it's like Winter's description of the elephants. They're stricken with grief for humanity being so out of connection with pure joy, which is the true condition of living in harmonious coexistence with your planet. And so that has been the work of the lions. It's now into its 30th year. I was rescued by this amazing medicine woman who showed me the way of the lions in 1991, 30 years ago. And after researching for a decade, first-hand knowledge around the white lions, I finally formed the Global White Lion Protection Trust. And then we got practical with all this knowledge. So along with the conservation of returning the lions back into their ecosystem, and I believe we have a moment, 6 minutes, to share what the lions do once they are returned to their sacred lands. But along with that, it became clear that to restore nature's relationship with the planet, conservation has to be community-based conservation. In other words, alive and well in the hearts and minds of humanity. It doesn't help saving a critically endangered animal if the next day some brutal person goes and kills it because they haven't understood that they are connected with nature and that this is their heritage too. So conservation and community celebration went hand in hand from the beginning with our organization. So there were actually 3 levels of regeneration. The first is the ecosystem itself, which regenerates. Nature can regenerate herself if she is honored and allowed to do so. And it starts with what we would call sacred natural sites around the planet, which are really like vital organs of the body. If we protect those sites, they hold the source codes, the source waters, the source codes for biodiversity. They will then restore the planet. And if humanity contains, if we contain ourselves in a loving and respectful way with our environment, then nature will restore herself and include us in that incredible restoration. So I wonder, Eleutheria, if I can just take a moment to show the map and the 3 levels of regeneration, how it works. And then maybe it's simplest for me if we're sharing that I share that video of 6 minutes so we see how the lions do it, right?
Perfect.
Thank you. I'll just be a moment to share screen. So the first thing I'm sharing is, let's just drag that across so you can see. Our project is literally in the heart. Can you see it, Eleutheria, Violeta? Okay. You see, that is us. We're in the heart of this massive ecosystem, which is a UNESCO ecosystem called Kruger National Park, 2 canyons, Blader River canyons. It's vast. And there are 2 main rivers feeding this whole ecosystem. The one runs through the heartland of the lions, and the other is the Timbavati River that runs through to the Kruger. Both rivers are hugely at risk. And you see, I've highlighted an industrialized farming development is scheduled to take place in the middle of the ecosystem. So we're opposing that, of course, and we're taking it, well, it is being taken to the High Court and has to be overthrown. But what I'm going to show you is how, if you simply create a safe haven for nature to regenerate herself, she does wonders. And the apex animal is the key to regeneration. I hope all of you who have seen that incredible documentary about Yellowstone Park, where the wolves restored the entire ecosystem all the way down to the land and the rivers. You'll see the same here. So that is ecological regeneration, and that is priceless. There's no way that nature has to defend its right to survive. You know, that old principle of if it pays, it stays, nature can stay. No, these sacred sites have to stay at all costs, and they must not be commoditized. So the word we would use in eco-civilization, I'd imagine, Violeta, is this concept of being ecocentric, putting, although you point out that humanity is in the center of that model, that is a humanity who is restoring its true nature in connection with nature. That is at the center of the model. And I understand that.
Yes.
And so if we shift from self-serving to serving our planet, it's a simple shift. It'll change everything and will ultimately establish this eco-civilization that we know is possible. And the first step, as I understand it, and as we have taken here, is to secure a no-go zone where nature has sovereignty in these sacred natural sites. Second step of regeneration is cultural regeneration, when humanity is inspired by nature and their cultural revivals, we become stewards of the planet rather than destroying it. So that takes place on the buffer region of these biodiversity places, the last wilderness places on the planet, it has to take place on the buffer. And that's where you'd have heritage site developments, cultural centers, visitor day centers, cross-cultural celebrations. That's where it all takes place. And then beyond that, really on the greater borders, there are huge opportunities for regenerative farming that allows hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of rural livelihoods that otherwise, are poverty-stricken and exploiting the rivers, dumping waste in the rivers, through desperation and not understanding that this is their livelihood. So let me close with that video, because the lions speak or roar louder than anything I can say. And I'm going to share that with you. Let's see, full screen. Let's check that the sound is up. There we go.
Like the vital organs of the body, powerful biodiversity hotspots on Earth hold the source codes for the revitalization of our entire planet and the flourishing of life itself. Life began in Africa, and speciation is associated with the East African Rift Valley at the epicenter of Earth's land masses, also referred to by evolutionary scientists as the birth canal of the human species. The white lions were born on the Nilotic meridian along the East African Rift tectonic plate, and significantly in alignment with the most important architectural sacred sites on the African continent, Giza, Great Zimbabwe, Barberton. This means that humankind's greatest lion monument, the Great Sphinx and pyramids of Giza in the north, align exactly with the birthplace of the white lions in the south. The white lions originate in this one location only on Earth, Timbavati, meaning place where the star lions came down in the old Shangaan language, and their heartland, Tsao, meaning star lion. But while the African wisdom keepers have long revered the white lions as holy animals and bringers of peace and prosperity, their critically important role in the ecosystem is less well understood. Their cultural role in restoring hope to humankind is equaled by their ecological role in restoring health to their ecosystem. Today, we are faced with a pervading sense of the devastation and desecration of Mother Earth. As immortalized in Disney's Lion King story, when the true king is removed from his kingdom, a wasteland ensues. But there is a way to come back into right relationship with our planet. When the apex animal is restored in its natural kingdom, the flourishing of all species in the ecosystem is assured. The white lions may be living legends, mythic in their majesty and iconic in their radiant solar power, yet their ability to restore health and healing to their natural ecosystem is fundamental ecology at its best. Importantly, their place of origin is in the epicenter of South Africa's Kruger to Canyons biosphere, a UNESCO-declared biosphere region and one of the last viable lion ranges on the planet. The white lion's birthplace was declared an ancient sacred site by African kings hundreds of years before the Kruger National Park was proclaimed in 1926, and the more recent United Nations accreditation at the turn of this millennium. But tragically, the white lions have been forcibly removed from their endemic wilderness territories for a documented period of over 6 decades into zoos and circuses around the globe and into death camps in South Africa's notorious cuddle to kill industry. To ensure the critical survival of the white lions while protecting the watershed in their area of origin, the Global White Lion Protection Trust has been purchasing large tracts of land since 2004, the heart of the white lion's ancestral territories. Significantly, the White Lion Heartlands spans the arterial river which serves the greater region, the only perennial waters in an area of some 100,000 hectares. Once a severely denuded habitat of radical biodiversity loss, the White Lion Heartlands has enjoyed dramatic regeneration under the paw print of the apex predator. This recent Google Earth map records the contrast between Tsao, the White Lion Heartlands today, and the desertification of neighboring lands directly bordering, where legalized commercial trophy hunting of lions has been taking place for decades. Just as wolves restored waterways in Yellowstone Park, so ecologists now recognize the apex predator's role in restoring balance throughout the trophic levels of the food chain in an ecosystem. As inspirational symbols of true service-based leadership, the white lions in our protected area restore health to their ecosystem and hope to human systems. Behind me is land that was once seriously degraded in the heart of the White Lion Heartlands. The Global White Lion Protection Trust has been purchasing large tracts of land in the white lion's endemic homelands and returning the lions to the wild in a scientific reintroduction program. Because we know when the white lions flourish, all life flourishes. Today, all conservation issues are global issues. If Brazil loses its rainforests, Earth has lost her lungs. If South Africa loses its white lions, Earth has lost her heart. We can all feel it, the pulsing heart of the animal kingdom on Earth, the white lion's sacred natural site, revitalizing all the vital organs of our living planet.
Thank you for that, Linda. Yeah, it's incredible to see the regeneration and understanding also that our white lions restore that regeneration exactly like the wolves did. And we've seen it so many times. My partner and I really work with permaculture, and you can see with huge permaculture developments and neighboring lands, how different the land really responds to, how you treat it and how, and restoring that ecosystem and how everything regenerates so quickly. So Winter, you mentioned a little bit earlier about the message of the leopard, and I'm just feeling quite drawn to the messages from the leopard that you received. And I was wondering after that, maybe if you could take us into that heart process, if you could perhaps share that with us.
Yes, thank you, Elle. Very, very happy to do that. I'm just going to read a portion of this guidance from Leopard, which I received when we were doing messages about water from the animals. And here love is life. Life is love. We can thrive no other way. Every action you take, every thought you have, let it be from a place of love. The love that is you, the love that is me, move deep into your heart. Keep your heart open through the pain, through the tragedy. Love brings you through. Be pure of thought, be pure of heart. We are life, we are love. We use the word we as it includes you. There is no separation. transformation is happening all the time. We feel it. It is time for a great shift. You are part of that. We are part of that. Thank you. Be in love. Be in joy. Be in life. And be present at all times. Watch. Listen. Feel. Use all the senses that you have been given in this life. Be awake to all that is around you, but most especially to the joy and beauty of all that is. Love achieves miracles. Be that love. Be true. Be you. Be we. And that was from Leopard. And at the time I was communicating, I actually, that night we heard a leopard, which is very unusual. I've just moved to a wilderness area in the garden route in South Africa near a river, and we heard the leopard rasping 2 nights in a row after communicating that. So it was just amazing confirmation of that beautiful connection. Oh, so thank you, everyone. And I'd love to, if everyone's ready, to take you into just this heart process, or it's probably will just be the beginning of the heart process, so that people can start to feel what it's like to be in that heart space. And it's actually quite simple. You know, you don't have to be a guru of meditation or anything. Just follow my voice and just be in this present moment, in this space. Okay. All right. So I'd like you to just feel your body relax into the chair or the seat that you're on. Feel your feet firmly on the ground, the soles of your feet against the solid ground beneath you. And gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just feel your body relax and release any tension, any physical tension in your body. With each breath, you relax a little bit more. On your next in-breath, I want you to be aware of a beautiful rose gold colored light that is surrounding you. And that is symbolizing the unconditional love of Mother Nature. Now breathe in that light, breathe it into your body. And as you breathe out, you're breathing out any heaviness, any anxiety, any pain, any heartache. And you can visualize that as maybe a dark, heavy color. And as it leaves you, it is transformed by that beautiful rose gold light, by the unconditional love of Mother Nature. And it's transformed into light. It is dissolved into the light. Let's just take a few breaths like that, where you're breathing in that rose gold light and you're breathing out any heaviness. And now on the next in-breath, take your focus down to your heart center, your heart space. in the middle of your chest. You can even put your hand over that heart space. Just connect with your heart. And when you breathe in that light, breathe it into your heart space. And let that light clear the heartache. That heart space is the center of our emotions. And at this time, we want to clear the pain of this moment, if there is any anxiety or worries or fears. Just for now, at this time, let that light flood and fill your heart center in order to clear it, so that the only energy that you are feeling in this moment is unconditional love. And as that rose gold light is clearing your heart space of the heaviness, feel your own love for Mother Nature start rising up into that heart space. So now you are connecting your own love, your own personal, unconditional love for Mother Nature with that universal love. And as it mixes and molds in your heart center, it starts expanding beyond your heart center into every cell of your body, moving through your body, clearing, dissolving anything that is not resonating with that love. And now feel it and see it expand beyond your physical body into your energy body, into the room, the environment that you are sitting in at this moment. And as it expands, you start feeling that real heart connection with all the beings that are around you. The plant beings, the insect beings, the animal beings, the birds, the soil, the water, the air that you breathe. Feel yourself as part of this world. There is no separation. You are one. You can expand that field to any distance. There is no limit. Feel that field expanding beyond your own environment to the town you're living in, to outside of the town, the city, into the countryside. To the man-made borders of the countries, and then beyond that, to the edge of the land, and then into the sea, where you're connecting with all the sea creatures, the sea beings. And then to the other continents and countries. And feel the connection that you have with all the people, the human beings on this call today. The connection that you have with humanity, with community. We are a global community. We can work as one with this universal consciousness of unconditional love. Know it, feel it in the very cells of your body. Be that love that leopard has asked us to be. Slowly, still keeping that field around you and within you, start coming back to your heart center. Acknowledge that unconditional love that is working with Mother Nature, co-creating. While you are in that space, you may ask a question of her, and perhaps ask, how can I most assist the we at this time? See what comes, feel. You might get an image, a feeling, a word. Know that you can come back to the space at any time. That from now on, each step you take will be from this place, from this heart space. Feel safe and protected in this heart space. As we all start moving into this eco-civilization that we are co-creating with Mother Nature herself, feel the truth of it in your body. Become aware of your physical body in the room that you're sitting in. Become aware of your feet on the solid ground beneath you. And you can even just tap your feet to help you come back into your body, to be grounded in this work. And when you are ready, you can gently open your eyes.
Thank you so much for that, Winter. And that beautiful connected space really leads us into our third part, which is really the intuitive action. So I love that call and the question you asked us. How can we step into that and step into the we of this? So which actions can we take today in order to leap us, into the manifestation of our eco-civilization? And Linda, I remember being with you in the beautiful heartlands with the lions, and I remember speaking to you about feminine leadership, and you were telling me that all you need to do is just watch a lioness deal with a very formidable lion, and you'll know all about lion-hearted leadership. And so I was wondering if you could share a little bit about the action steps we can take as lion-hearted leaders.
Thank you. Well, obviously, aspiring to be leaders, one looks at the apex animal. And so there's a reason that lions and lionesses have been seen as the king and the queen of creation. So, in designing leadership training from nature. Obviously, the message is so critical for humanity at this time. And it took nearly 30 years, but it's formalized now into a very accessible methodology to use in our daily life. So if anyone is ready to apply or looking for a formalized training whereby nature speaks to you through the lion laws, that is available now online, and it's a profoundly transformative experience. Remembering, though, that all of nature is teaching us at all times. So the lions are so significant because they represent all of nature. Literally, in their constitution, they have received blessings from nature, given in love, in unconditional love, which they have received in unconditional love. And then in serving creation, they govern in service of all of creation to ensure the continuity of life. So the key difference between an ecosystem and human systems at this time is that in an ecosystem, everything gives, everything, every single creature, great and small, gives. And because everything gives, everything receives. It's we humans who've gotten what it is to give in that way, to give unconditionally. When we learn that basic change, we again have transformed our system. So that is available for everyone. It's called Lion-Hearted Leadership Training. It's a beautiful training, but I encourage you after this call to literally engage in the way that Winter has described the message of the leopard. Engage in the next sentient being you encounter and go back into that meditation and realize that that being has a great deal to share with you because we've been invited to be one with all of creation.
Thank you. Yes, all of life breathes together. And I think it really is now time for us to really embody that and live it. All of life breathes together. I've just experienced such amazing experiences with both of you in terms of just physically experiencing the wonders that happen so effortlessly when we can communicate with interspecies, and communicate with animals. And I was wondering if, in closing, because I still want to leave a little bit of time for Q&A, if you could just share, both of you, Linda and Winter, if you could just share, maybe, I know there's many stories. I mean, I'm dying to tell a whole bunch of them, but if you could share one treasured story that with us in those moments of just really coming into communion and with interspecies communication.
Winter?
Gosh, there are so many, and I'd love to share the one that always stands out with the white lions. And it was in the early days when Mara was with her 3 cubs, and she taught herself how to hunt, and she was teaching her cubs how to hunt, and the National Geographic was needed to capture the hunting sequence from beginning to end. And they had been at the project for 2 weeks, I think, or just over 2 weeks, and that was their final night, final opportunity to catch the full sequence of a hunt. And I arrived that day, and it was, oh, well, maybe Winter can tell them what to do. And it's like, no pressure, and understanding that we cannot tell animals what to do. That's not what communication is all about. It's about really respectfully requesting them to do something and explaining why you want them to do it. And that's the important thing, is having a very good reason, and not just for your selfish reasons, for the greater picture. And especially for the lions, they're not going to do something unless it is for the greater good. And of course, I can't, it'll take too long to explain every step of the communication. But when I went out with the team and the crew and another film crew in another vehicle, and the lions were very, very thin. They hadn't eaten for 10 days or so, or they'd eaten little bits, but out of sight of the camera. And flat cats lying there, no intention of hunting, and just explained the situation. Linda was in the vehicle with me, and they needed actually Linda to explain the reason why they needed to be on camera at that, and Linda explained it is because they need to show the world that they are apex predators, with all the myths about white lions and misunderstandings about them. And of course they did under the most unusual circumstances. And they hunted some warthog, and the first warthog that they killed, the camera wasn't quite ready, so they did it again, and it was as if the warthog actually engaged with the camera, with the lions, almost looking into the camera and saying, okay, ready, and then they've, the warthog gave themselves for this beautiful interaction so that it could be shown to the world that the white lions are very capable of hunting. And that was just communicating to them, asking them with greatest respect what we needed, what the film crew needed, why the film was needed to happen. And that was just a very special moment that will always live in my memory. So I think I'll let Linda continue there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I can add that the filmmaker was so amazed at these techniques that he went on to train in interspecies communication after that, and said, all of National Geographic film crews should be doing this. Why aren't they? So I'm going to give a shortest example, that our project has been based on indigenous knowledge systems, such as interspecies communication, as well as scientific leading edge technologies combined. And science is always required to support indigenous knowledge systems so that we united can save species. But there's always a lively debate around decisions of this kind. So the example I'd like to give was when the same lioness arrived in our project after 6 years of battling for her freedom to go back into the wild. And the first debate we had as an organization was, should she wear a scientific radio collar, or should she be completely free in the wild? And I said, absolutely, this is the queen of animals. She shouldn't wear a radio collar. But my partner, who's a specialist lion ecologist, said, of course she must wear a radio collar. How can we track her in the wild? And so we had this lively debate, which was more than a debate. It was quite a heated argument. And then I suddenly, then he suddenly said, but if she is caught in a poacher's trap, are you going to be using your telepathic techniques, or would you like me to help with telemetry or telepathy? So I said, okay, both. So she had to wear a radio collar. But the interesting thing is, after he had fitted the radio collar, she wiped the technology, because that they are so high frequency in their consciousness, it no longer functioned. And I had to sit with her and explain, the reason we are collaring you is to serve you, to serve your greater interest. If something happens to you, we want to be able to be there as soon as possible. We can't, if in a panic, maybe I won't be listening to my telepathy. And then the collar functioned after that. So that's just a beautiful story of what is ultimately the life of serving nature, which is a miracle every single day. And it can be a microcosm or a macrocosm. wherever you are, you don't have to be in an ecosystem as I am. You can experience these miracles of reconnection with nature, big or small.
Thank you so much for sharing those two beautiful, magical stories. And I was wondering, before we hand over for some questions and answers, whether, I'm sure Violetta has got a couple of questions as well.
Well, if nobody else is going to ask, let me break the ice.
Yes.
So the question is for both of you. So how do you see the current state of humanity, of like an average human being, in a sense of being ready to receive this knowledge and to remember again the communication with other species? I mean, I think every one of us at one point in life already experienced that, but it was non-intentional. So what do you think needs to be done prior to that in order to get ready and to be then open for these teachings?
Might I have the first bite at trying to answer that? Nature is reclaiming her dominion. So people who are not responding in this way will be left behind, or will be ill-equipped to deal with the future because the changes are already upon us. So this technique is not, it's not an indulgence. It is what future leadership will look like.
And I do feel that more and more people are sort of waking up, and I don't know what that wake up means. I think it means different things for different people, but usually it's something to do with nature, and or maybe just having a feeling of being lost and trying to look for something. And when people can shift into that, okay, I'm not just going to stay in this lost feeling, I'm actually going to follow my heart and research and do what feels right, then that shift starts happening. But many people are still stuck in that disconnect, and they're too scared to move out of it, even if they recognize that it's not serving them. So one of the big things that has to happen is to reduce the fear or transform the fear. And it's difficult in this day and age because we are so, the powers that be that most people listen to are driving us with fear. So we need to overcome that and transform it, as difficult as it is. I don't know if that answered the question.
Well, there is no simple answer. I've heard that. As I also read, Joe wrote in the chat, that would be great to have this as part of education. So I was wondering if in your region, have you been able to enter the, let's say, the elementary or high school education with that, at least in a form of elective course or something, just to manage this fear then better, because for that you need a supportive environment, you need a collective, you need some sort of community that creates this safe environment.
Yes, absolutely. For sure, a few people here are mentioning, to really teach it into the school curriculums from early on, which would definitely be, I think, a must for eco-civilization in terms of education. Once it's become normalized, we know that we can all just do it. And I can just say from personal experience, what I love about both Linda and Winter's teachings is that there isn't a special quality or, gift that you need with this. It is kind of your human right. It is we can all really tap into that and communicate with nature. All we've got to do is listen and open our hearts and be in that love frequency which winter took us into. Linda, there's also a question here for you. Does Linda offer lion-hearted leadership training in the form of a book or other self-paced format?
Yes, so there is a book, and that's available from our website. And self-paced, that is the online course is absolutely self-paced, encouraging all the way, but you do it in your own time with a lot of interaction with others. I think there are 100 people currently doing it. And then to add, we have an academy which was formalized in 2012 as well. And that is on site in lion territories. But otherwise, the online connection it's really beautifully composed. And I would add that Winter's Academy now is accumulating tens of thousands of case studies. There are other leading animal communicators collaborating with us, like P. Horsley and Joan Ranquette, who in their own way are also amassing tens of thousands of case studies, so that these are now attracting the attention of scientists who are prepared to challenge old style methodology and recognizing this is central to humanity restoring our true alignment with nature. Rupert Sheldrake is one of the key players from the Oxbridge fraternity who's prepared to engage in these knowledge systems and recognize how important they are. Quite fast, although it hasn't been formalized yet. There are some universities I know that are taking this on as courses. So it has to go into the schools and would probably start with the Montessori schools. And before we know it, it will be central focus.
Wonderful. We just have a comment here also from Gail Lash saying, I work with accredited zoos and aquariums in the USA and world. I'm working to have this interspecies communication and heart love taught there to public, making these parks into places of peace, community dialogue, as well as for peace. And so here we have examples, of where eco-civilization and living consciously with nature is already in place. It's taking place. It's not something out there far in the future, but all of the foundation and the building blocks and the young forest is already there, growing and experiencing all of this. Let's see if there's another question as well.
May I just share one comment while you're looking for a question, because what you just said is so powerful, because this level of awareness is coming forward. Because I just read this interesting article that it says that our big discovery is that every network has a hidden social clusters in the outer edge. That is idea by several 100%. Basically the tipping points of change are coming from the edge, not from the mainstream. And the mainstream is also always defending things. And at the edge, these hidden social clusters are setting up the foundation for changes. And I believe we just heard the testimony of one of these, not that hidden clusters, but still the clusters that are bringing us the needed changes.
Absolutely, that is very exciting to me, that there's definitely this change is coming from not where we're expecting it from, but from, the heart or the outer edges. Okay, here's something from Monique Chalice. I have foxes in my area. They're beautiful, delightful creatures. Not everyone agrees though, and have shocked me with their reactions, and they see me interacting with them. Some are afraid and others demonize the foxes for making a mess, etc. Even when I explain about them and ask open questions, I find some people are closed. I'm not sure how to open up the dialogue, how to serve the foxes in the best way. Any tips? Thank you. That's such a great question. I think we all have these experiences maybe with tree people versus non-tree people. And so I'm going to hand over the question to you. What's the best way to deal with non-tree people?
You know, specifically with Monique, with the foxes, I'd say, and you know, I've had the same thing with the baboons, and it can be so incredibly frustrating and heartbreaking. And I do feel that the very first thing that you can do is ask the foxes. So really go into that heart space and just say, how can I do it? You know, how can I help? And again, work on visualizing the hearts of those people who are so closed, opening. And, you know, you can work with guides and other beings to assist in their protection, but also, you know, on a practical level, just educate, you know, to try and help educate people. Maybe in a way you can do flyers, something, you know, you'll get information from the foxes themselves. But we can't fight that closedness. We can't get angry with them. We can't argue with them, because that just puts up more barriers. We need to actually just be in that space of love, and envision a positive outcome and a positive transformation.
Thank you so much for that, Winter. Great answer, and something practical for us to do. Linda, I know that you need to leave. You're on another call. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wonderful wisdom with us today, and blessings. And thank you so much for your time and for sharing White Lion wisdom and for answering that call in 1991 with the White Lions. Thank you.
Thank you to the panelists. Thank you to everyone for your engaging questions. Please continue to interact in this way, because this vision is the vision that will carry us forward into the future, and nature is listening. Thank you, everyone. I send you so much love, and I can feel the extended consciousness that we've created in the ecosystem around me. Love to you all.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see, any other questions? Okay. Just lots of thanks, you know, lots of thanks. I think people have really enjoyed this. Lots of sharings. Beautiful.
Can I share something?
Yes,
Just to say, you know, the way we speak about just communicating with nature, communicating with the animals, it is simple, but I think the struggle that a lot of people have is trusting their intuition. And that comes with practice, and it also comes with clearing your own stuff, you know, the ego, the fears and everything. And it's something that I do work with quite deeply in my online academy. So, you know, just if anybody wants to learn more, there's, you know, if you go onto my website, there's a lot of free information. But if you want to take it deeper, there is that course, and there's all, you know, any other animal communicator that you feel drawn to. There's so many people teaching it now. But, you know, I would recommend that you do just do that work on yourself while you are practicing the communication, because it does really help.
For sure. I can definitely agree and attest to that, is that, you know, we have to clear our own stuff first before we can be really like open to receive everything. And Winter, could you let us know which website can we go to learn more about your online training? Your microphone, sorry, yeah.
It's animaltalkafrica.co.za, has all the information, and that you can get the link to the Learn site. So Animal Talk Africa.
.co.za. I'm just putting it in the
.co.za. Thank you.
Great. Okay, wonderful. And in closing, gosh, I don't have that link now. You don't have any links to play, Winter?
No, I didn't. Which link were you thinking of? Oh, the raws. Oh dear.
It's
I
okay.
don't have it.
It's okay. Next time. Yes, yes. Oh, there we go. Great. Gail
Are you
posted Animal Africa as well.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, dear. I thought that you had the rules. Sorry, I don't have that.
No problem.
Okay.
Fantastic. Yes. So anything else to share?
Well, just my heartfelt gratitude to you and Violetta for just creating this amazing platform of community that we can start exploring these things very openly and together. And, you know, if anyone wants, I know if anyone wants to contact me about working with schools, or, I saw a few people wanting to assist there, that'd be wonderful. And I'd love to be more involved with the Ecocivilisation if I can, however I can be of help.
Thank you. Yes, okay. I will definitely take you up on that one. And in closing, I'd like to share a personal story of Winter. I remember at one time this stray cat just decided to move into our property, and it was there for probably about 6 months. And I just thought, okay, the cat's safe. It wasn't really interfering with my cat, and it kind of stayed away from the house, and it was living kind of off the land. And one evening, this cat just decided to come up to the house, and I had to protect this cat from my dog because my dog was protecting my cat, and it was really mowing and really trying to get my attention. And the next day, Winter came around. We had a course there that we were doing, and I said to Winter, yeah, I think this is like a stray cat. Do we maybe take it to the vet to see if it's chipped? And with this cat looked quite wild, and so I'm pretty cat friendly, and I have a little bit of a whisper in me. But I wasn't going to pick the cat up, and Winter just walked straight up to the cat, picked him up. He started purring in her arms, and she said, "I just know this cat is missing, and I think I know who the owner is." And somebody emailed me 6 months ago, and I'm pretty sure this is this cat. And this was dark at night. I couldn't even see the cat's colors, and Winter just knew. And 10 o'clock that night, somebody arrived to come and collect their cats. And it was just such an amazing story. This lady then ended up telling us the story, and she had lost her missing cat, who was called Jeremiah Biggles. And she was so grateful that we had found the cat, but it was so amazing that she had contacted animal communicators to help her find her cat. And one animal communicator even described the garden that he was in, and he was by a pond. They described our garden. And then she communicated with her cat and just said, go and find somebody that will find me. And that's how Mr. Biggles ended up going back home to this lady. It was an amazing experience for me, to really just see that interspecies communication is possible. And this is one of many, many, many incredible, amazing stories. So in closing, I'd like to just thank you all so much for being here today and for helping us to really build an eco-civilization where we know that we can consciously live with nature and we can all thrive together as all life breathes together. And again, just thank you so much for your letter, for your time. Thank you, Winter, and thank you, Linda, and thank you for everybody that's here today with us. And we'll be back again from the South African side next month. We'll be talking about plant species and we'll be celebrating Arbor Month. So we'll be talking about trees and eco-civilization and how we can live consciously with our trees as well.
Wonderful, Eleftheria. May I also say a deep thank you to you. What a magnificent launch of South African Wing. That is so promising. And now from animals to the plant world, just getting yet another vibration. And there were a question that we did not respond is really, what about people and what about interracial and interpersonal relationship? And I think once we come around with you in a full circle, we will see that the way how we interact with plants and animals is the way how we interact with people as well. We are all, as we learn today, part of the same energy of the Mother Earth. And this is exactly what today's deep vibe is. And I don't know for the rest, but I'm changed inside. I can feel it. And I can't wait to be part of the next session. And if you allow me, Eleftheria, because people are also asking about eco-civilization as it is, we have several different events. So find the one that resonates with you. There are many paths to the same destination. So engage with us. We will publish all events. We are publishing all events on our webpage. Where you will also find the next event that Eleftheria will lead, but we also have eco-civilization talks, eco-civilization in action discussions around circular economy, global open house, where you come and you set the agenda, and we have really interesting discussions there. So find your path, and if you feel that there is yet another you want to open, please do so, because there is no predefined rules except openness and honest heart to serve the humanity in the future, along with all other living creatures on this planet Earth. So also in the name of eco-civilization movement as a whole, thank you very much for all your attention. And thank you, Eleftheria, for putting together this magnificent event. And Winter, I cannot wait to engage again with you and with Linda and continue to strengthen this frequency that it's so much needed. Also to bring us together back, human to human, into human relationship. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, see ya.
Bye.
It's always hard to say goodbye, isn't it?
It is.
Goodbye, my dear friends.
Goodbye. Thank you so much.